Hi everyone, welcome to the Learner's Den. Today we will do the second chapter, Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. As we start the chapter, we start with the setting of the story. This particular extract or the story, it takes place in the Sandstone Amphitheater, which is a part of the Union buildings in Pretoria. Coming to the introduction, there are a few things that we need to know as we start the chapter. First, Nelson Mandela was the South Africa's first Black president. Mandela was a part of ANC, which is African National Congress, and he won 252 out of 400 seats. A lot of politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries attended the ceremony, and this ceremony took place on 10th of May. Hence, it marks one of the important dates. As the chapter starts, of course, it starts with the day, which is an important autumn day on the 10th of May. And he describes it as a lovely autumn day, focusing on the event which is so significant. He was accompanied by his daughter Zanani, and there were other dignitaries and world leaders who were participating in that event. And he says that it was a rainbow gathering. The word rainbow gathering had been used here to highlight that not only the whites but the blacks and the colored peoples were gathered all together for this particular event. So this event marks a very important time in the history of South Africa. The order of inauguration, if we go, then first it was Mr. De Klerk who was appointed as the second deputy president, followed by Mr. Thabo Mbeki, who was appointed as the first deputy president, and finally Mr. Nelson Mandela, who was appointed as the first Black president of South Africa. Now, along with the appointment, he made an inauguration speech where he highlighted few important points. He talked about the newborn liberty. He talked about the freedom from extraordinary human disaster. By the term extraordinary human disaster, he meant the oppression which followed for years. Then he also talked about the privilege to host the countries in their own soil, because now that they were free, they could now host other countries in their own soil. And he says that it was a victory for justice, peace, and human dignity. He also tries to focus that there will be no oppression anymore now that he is the president. He talks about political emancipation and to be free from not just apartheid, but from poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. And he ends his speech by mentioning that the sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement, highlighting the fact that they have been able to put a stop against oppression and they are going to move forward and make progress in their country. Following the story map after the inauguration speech, he also talks about the display of array of South African jets, which was actually for the country and to he also mentions that how all these things, all the respect which was given to him now would not have been possible a few years back when he would rather be arrested for even thinking of something so bold. He also mentions about two national anthems which were sung during this particular event, because there were two groups who had their own national anthems, and he also mentions that soon it will be known by everyone, that is both the anthems will be known by everyone now that they are moving towards a government which would not discriminate. So he's looking at a country which is more united. Moreover, he also talks about all the freedom fighters and the patriots before him, like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Lusulu, and he mentions that it is because of their efforts that he has been able to reach this level of success. And as he mentions these people, he also uh, says that it is depths of oppressions which have created heights of character, and he calls them finer and truer than the purest diamonds. So when he's talking about his fellow fighters and when he's talking about the African citizens, he is speaking about them with a lot of love, respect, and uh, gives a lot of value to these people. Moving on, he talks about two very important concepts which he has learned from the leaders. The first is the concept of courage. He says of how men and women they have risked their lives for an idea to be free, an idea uh, to be free from the oppression and to be at a par with others. He also talks about how men have stood up to the attack and torture without breaking, which defies imagination. Talking about the all the torture which they had to go through, and yet they have emerged victorious. And a very important concept about courage, he says that courage is not absence of fear, rather triumph over it. So, for from all the leaders, we have learned that courage does not mean being fearless, but it means having a certain fear, being aware of the fear, and working towards it to overcome it. And that is what the right meaning of courage is, according to Nelson Mandela. He also talks about the concept of love and hate. And he says that no one is born hating based on color, black background, religion, because we do not see babies who hate people or who can discriminate people. And following that, he mentions that if one can be taught to hate, which is not a natural emotion, then love comes even more naturally. So it will be even easier to teach children to love each other. And then he talks about humanity, which is always present. And he feels that that splint of love is present in everyone, and the humanity in people is like a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. So he is a believer in humanity and he gives more preference to love than hatred. uh, Following, he talks about the idea of freedom, and his idea is freedom is quite different from the others that we have come across so far. He talks about the twin obligation of man. One is towards family and the one other is towards the country. And he feels that in South Africa, it is very difficult for a man to uh, work, to be obliged towards his family as well as the country. Because whenever a man goes to one side, the other side is always neglected. And if somebody wants to serve both, then his existence becomes a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion, neither this side nor that side, and he's stuck in between. And he also mentions about his own life. He's saying that he was not born with a hunger to be free. And as a kid, he thought that he was free. But later in life, he realized that the freedom that he thought he possessed was simply an illusion. And then he talks about after realizing this, how the transformation took place in his own life. So, from a frightened man, he became somebody who was bold enough to stand against the government. From a abiding attorney, he became a criminal. From a family loving person to a homeless person. And finally, from a life loving man to a monk. So, all these transformations were necessary for him to serve his country. Next, he also talks about freedom being indivisible between individual and society. That is, even if just one person is free among the society, then that person it cannot be truly free. And on the other hand, if the entire society is free, but even if one person is imprisoned, then also freedom is, we cannot consider that there is absolute freedom. And he feels that the oppressor needs as much liberation as the oppressed. He feels that both of them are imprisoned. The oppressed is obviously imprisoned by the oppressor, but at the same time, the oppressor is a prisoner of hatred. So the oppressor also needs to free himself from the thoughts, or from his own mental prison of hatred and prejudices that he has developed against the oppressed. So that is his idea of freedom, and which is truly very enlightening. Moving on, if we talk about the character sketch of Nelson Mandela, we have seen that he is a man of courage, wisdom, and generosity. He is a very humble person because he pays homage to other freedom fighters and definitely mentions them and their contribution as the leading steps through which he has been able to accomplish what he has accomplished. And he has exceptional leadership qualities, and he walks the he he actually shows what he expects from others. He is a believer in non-violence and peace, and that is why he is able to understand that the oppressor is also equally um, imprisoned as the oppressed. He is a very understanding person, and he realizes how the oppressor needs to be freed from the prison of their thoughts. He is a man with a foresight who is against all discrimination. Even in his inauguration speech, he does not only talk about the uh, discrimination against color or race, but he also mentions discrimination against gender. He prefers equality on all levels. And obviously, he is a very high thinking person, which is visible in his thoughts. Title justification, it is not just Nelson Mandela, but we see the title of the chapter is also Long Walk to Freedom. Now, why is it a long walk to freedom? First, because it highlights the long struggle against discrimination. It was not accomplished in a day or in a year, but it had been years through which they have been able to reach to this level and attain freedom. He also, this chapter talks about not just Nelson Mandela, but the other freedom fighters whose efforts made it possible. So their efforts were like steps upon which Mandela could follow and reach to the level where he could become the first Black president of South Africa. It also talks about the realization of what freedom means, because it was not as if he was born with the realization that he needs to work to free his country and his citizen, but even in his life he had to first realize that he was not free. So even that took a lot of time and a lot of understanding. Next, it also speaks volumes about how a man needs to choose between his family and overcome challenges to serve the country. So it is not just the decision of the just the challenges, but also the decision to choose your country over your family. Then this chapter also talks about the effect that it had on the people and how their perceptions also requires a change. That is instead the concept of courage, the concept of love and hate, and the concept of finally the freedom, which talks about it being indivisible, whether it is the individual or the society. And I would like to end by saying that in this chapter, through this chapter, it tries to make the students aware about how an idea develops and what are the struggles which goes and how it becomes a revolution, and finally they are able to attain what they were looking for. But it is not an easy task. It is not something which could be accomplished in a limited time period, but something which goes on for decades. And finally, with continuous efforts, one makes it possible to do it. I hope you like the content. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe. And happy learning. Bye bye.